My name is Sarah Chin, and I'm 32 years old. I never thought my little sister would destroy me with just one sentence at Sunday dinner. It was Mom's birthday celebration at our family home in Portland, Oregon. I had spent my whole weekend making her favorite lemon cake from scratch, the recipe Grandma taught me before she passed. The kitchen smelled like vanilla and sunshine. Extended family filled every chair around our old wooden table. Uncle Pete, Aunt Maria, Cousin Jake, even the Hendersons from next door came to celebrate. I was cutting cake slices when my world crashed down. My sister Lisa, 3 years younger, suddenly stood up and pointed right at me. Her voice was loud and mean. "Sarah takes all our money," she announced to everyone. "We're tired of carrying her. We want our lives back without you dragging us down." The words felt like ice water hitting my face. Dad just kept smiling and drinking his beer like nothing happened. Mom froze with her fork halfway to her mouth. Uncle Pete looked confused. Aunt Maria stared at her plate. The neighbor stopped talking and looked at me like I had done something wrong. I felt my cheeks get hot, but I didn't cry or yell. I put down the cake knife very slowly. My hands were shaking, but I kept them steady. I looked around the table at all these people who knew me my whole life. Not one person said Lisa was wrong. Not one person stood up for me. The room felt like it was getting smaller and smaller. I picked up my purse, walked calmly to my old bedroom upstairs, and started packing. I threw clothes in a bag, grabbed my laptop and phone charger. The house was getting quiet downstairs. I could hear people leaving early. I walked down the back stairs and out through the garage. Nobody saw me go. My car was parked on the street. I drove to a small hotel near the airport, 20 minutes away. I didn't answer when my phone started ringing. I just sat on the hotel bed, looking at the blank TV screen. All I could think was this: if they really believe I'm dragging them down, then let them see what life looks like without me. But what happens when the lights go out? When the rent comes due? When they realize who is actually keeping everything together? What time is it where you live? Tell me in the comments below. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because next I'm about to cancel every single thing I pay for. Let's see how much they really want me gone. I woke up in that hotel room the next morning. The air conditioner was making noise and cars were driving by outside. My phone had 15 missed calls from Mom and Lisa. I didn't listen to any messages. Instead, I stared at the ceiling and thought about how I got here. Not just in this hotel, but in a life where my own family thought I was taking from them instead of giving everything I had. 3 years ago, I had my own apartment in downtown Portland. I worked at a coffee shop and made art in my free time. I painted pictures and sold them online. It wasn't much money, but it was mine. I loved my little studio apartment with plants everywhere and my cat named Buster. Then Mom called crying one night. Dad had lost his job at the factory. They were going to lose the house where I grew up. Medical bills from Dad's back surgery were piling up. They couldn't pay for anything anymore and were scared they'd be homeless. I didn't think twice. I gave them all my savings, about $40,000 I had been saving for my dream art studio. I moved back home to help with daily expenses. I got a second job working nights at a grocery store so I could pay their mortgage every month. That was supposed to last 6 months while Dad found new work. But 6 months became 3 years. I paid $1,500 every month for their house payment. I bought groceries, paid for utilities, fixed things when they broke. I even paid for Lisa's car insurance and phone bill. Dad found some part-time work, but he mostly stayed in the basement watching TV shows. Mom got busy with her book club and gardening. Lisa worked part-time at a clothing store but spent most of her money on clothes and going out with friends. Growing up, Lisa and I were best friends. She used to follow me everywhere when she was little. "Sarah's the coolest," she would tell her friends at school. We shared a room and stayed up late talking about everything. I taught her how to ride a bike, helped with homework, covered for her when she broke Mom's favorite vase. But after I moved back home, Lisa changed completely. She acted like I was in her way all the time. She would roll her eyes when I came in the kitchen. She complained when I used the bathroom too long. Once she yelled at me for watching my favorite TV show, saying I didn't belong in the living room anymore. I tried to stay out of everyone's way. I would leave early for work and come home late. I ate dinner in my room most nights. I missed my old apartment and my independence so much it hurt. Mom and Dad didn't notice how Lisa treated me. Dad spent his time in the basement or garage. Mom was always busy with her friends or activities. They both knew I paid for everything, but they never said thank you or asked how I was doing. They just expected me to keep giving. Lisa got worse and worse. She would blast music when I was trying to sleep before work. She left me notes about chores. Last month, she told Mom I was lazy and spoiled, even though I worked 2 jobs to keep their lives comfortable. Sitting in that hotel room, I realized I had given up everything for people who didn't even see me as family anymore. I had no savings left. My art supplies were gathering dust. I hadn't painted anything beautiful in years. I was tired all the time from working so much. And for what? So my sister could call me a burden in front of everyone we know? So Mom and Dad could act like I owed them something instead of the other way around? I was done being invisible in my own life. I opened my laptop and logged into my bank account. I needed to see exactly how much I was spending on their lives every month. The numbers made me sick. House payment, utilities, groceries, car insurance, phone bills, streaming services, even Lisa's gym membership. Almost $2,000 every month going to people who just told me they wanted me gone. I had been working myself to death for people who didn't care if I disappeared. That's when I decided to give them exactly what they said they wanted. I checked out of the hotel and drove to my friend Maya's house across town. Maya had been my best friend since high school. She lived in a cozy house with her husband Carlos and their 2 kids. They had always told me I was welcome anytime. When I knocked on their door with my suitcase, Maya took one look at my face and hugged me tight. She made me tea and sat me down at her kitchen table. I told her everything that happened at dinner. How Lisa humiliated me in front of everyone. How nobody defended me. Maya was furious. She said my family was using me and I deserved so much better. Carlos nodded and said he never understood why I was supporting grown adults who could work for themselves. Maya told me about her cousin Roberto, who had been in a similar situation. His brother had lived in Roberto's house rent-free for 2 years. The brother complained constantly and finally told Roberto he was annoying and should move out of his own house. So, Roberto kicked him out the next day. The brother had to learn to take care of himself, and their relationship actually got better eventually. Sometimes people need to feel what it's like without you before they appreciate what you do, Maya said. She was right. I had been making their lives too easy while making my own life harder every day. Carlos offered me their guest room for as long as I needed. Maya said I could help with their kids after school to earn some extra money. For the first time in years, I felt like people actually cared about me as a person, not just as someone to pay bills. I opened my laptop again and looked at all those automatic payments going out of my account. This time I didn't hesitate. I canceled the house payment first, then utilities, then car insurance, phone bills, everything. One by one, I cut every tie that connected my bank account to their lives. Each click felt like taking a deep breath after holding it for 3 years. I wasn't being mean or trying to hurt them. I was finally stopping the hurt they had been giving me. My phone was buzzing with texts, but I ignored it. They wanted independence from me. Now they could have it completely. Maya watched me cancel everything and gave me a high five. "You're brave," she said. "This is going to be hard, but you're doing the right thing." I felt scared and excited at the same time. Scared because I didn't know what would happen next. Excited because for the first time in years, my money was mine again. I could start saving for my own place. Maybe even buy art supplies and start painting again. I could remember who I was before I became just the person who paid everyone else's bills. That night, I slept better than I had in months. Maya's guest room was small but cozy. I could hear her kids laughing in the next room and Carlos making breakfast in the kitchen. It felt like being part of a real family, one that actually wanted me there. My phone kept ringing, but I turned it off. I wasn't ready to hear excuses or blame. I needed time to remember what it felt like to matter. Tomorrow would bring consequences, and I was ready to face them without backing down. 5 days after I canceled everything, reality hit my family hard. I was at Maya's house helping her daughter with homework when my phone rang. It was Lisa, and she sounded panicked. "Sarah, what did you do?" she yelled before I could say hello. "The electricity got turned off, and Mom is crying. The mortgage company called and said we're behind. You need to fix this right now." I stayed calm and quiet. "You said you wanted to live without me," I replied. "This is what that looks like." Lisa got even more angry. "You're being ridiculous," Lisa shouted. "Just pay the bills and stop being so dramatic about everything."
She still didn't get it.
She still thought I owed her something after she embarrassed me in front of our whole family. "I'm not responsible for your life anymore," I told her. "You're 29 years old. Figure it out." She called me selfish and hung up. Maya heard the whole conversation and shook her head. "She still thinks you're the problem," Maya said. "Some people never learn until they have to." Mom called next. She was crying and begging me to come home. "Please, Sarah," she said through tears. "We can't do this without you. Dad doesn't know what to do about the house payment. Lisa's trying to get more hours at work, but it's not enough. We need you." I felt sad hearing Mom cry, but I remembered how she sat silent while Lisa attacked me. "Mom, you let Lisa say I was a burden. You didn't defend me at all. Why should I come back to that?" She cried harder and said Lisa didn't mean it. "She was just stressed," Mom said. "You know how she gets sometimes." But I was done making excuses for Lisa's bad behavior. "Being stressed doesn't give anyone the right to be cruel," I said. "I worked 2 jobs for 3 years to keep that house. I gave up my dreams, my apartment, my savings, everything for this family. And Lisa called me a burden. You said nothing. Dad said nothing. Until someone apologizes and means it, I'm not coming back." Mom kept crying, but I hung up. It hurt, but I had to stay strong. Carlos came home from work and found me looking upset on their couch. He sat down and asked what happened. I told him about the phone calls, about Mom crying and Lisa yelling. "Do you feel guilty?" he asked. I nodded. "That's normal," he said. "But guilt doesn't mean you're wrong. You taught them to depend on you, and now you're teaching them to be independent. It's going to be messy for a while, but it's necessary." His words made me feel better. I wasn't destroying my family. I was saving myself. 2 weeks later, Maya heard through her mom, who knew my mom from church, that things were getting really bad at my family's house. Dad had to take a full-time job at a fast food restaurant. Lisa was working extra shifts and had to sell her car to pay for bus fare. Mom was trying to find work for the first time in 10 years. The house was going into foreclosure because they couldn't make the payments without me. Part of me felt terrible. Part of me felt relieved that they were finally taking responsibility for their own lives. I got a job at an art supply store and started painting again in my free time. It felt amazing to hold a paintbrush and create something beautiful. Maya's kids loved watching me work and would ask questions about colors and techniques. I was starting to remember who I was before I became the family ATM machine. My phone still rang with calls from home, but I let them go to voicemail. I wasn't ready to go back to being taken for granted. They needed to prove they could appreciate me before I would trust them again. One day, Maya's mom came over for dinner and mentioned seeing my parents at the grocery store.
"They looked tired," she said.
"Your dad was using coupons and your mom seemed really stressed." I felt a pang of sadness, but Maya squeezed my hand.
"They're learning," she said.
"This is how people grow up, even when they're older." I nodded, but it was still hard to watch from a distance. These were the people who raised me, who taught me to ride a bike and helped with school projects. But they were also the people who let me be called a burden without saying a word. After a month, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Mom, written in her careful handwriting. She apologized for not standing up for me at dinner. She said she was embarrassed about how Lisa acted and wished she had been braver. She told me they were all working now and trying to save the house. She asked if we could meet for coffee to talk. It was the first real apology I had gotten, and it meant something. But I still wasn't ready. Words are easy. I needed to see real change before I could trust them again. Lisa sent a text message that just said, "I'm sorry." 2 words after destroying me in front of everyone we knew. It wasn't enough. Not even close. I needed her to understand how much she had hurt me, not just say sorry because things got hard for her. Maya agreed that Lisa needed to do more work before earning forgiveness. She needs to learn that actions have consequences, Maya said. And that includes the consequence of losing people who care about you when you treat them badly. I started therapy to help me understand why I had let my family use me for so long. My therapist, Dr. Johnson, helped me see that I had been trying to earn love by paying for it. But real love doesn't have a price tag. Real family supports each other without keeping score. I learned that setting boundaries wasn't mean or selfish. It was healthy and necessary. I also learned that I had been afraid of being alone, so I let people treat me poorly just to keep them around. But being alone was better than being with people who didn't value me. 3 months after I left, Maya heard that my family had lost the house. They moved into a small apartment and were all working to split the rent and bills. Dad was still at the fast food place. Mom got a job at a daycare center. Lisa was working full-time at the clothing store and taking online classes to learn new skills. It sounded like they were finally learning to be responsible for themselves. I felt proud of them for figuring it out, but I also felt sad that it took losing their home for them to grow up. I saved up enough money to get my own small apartment again. It wasn't as nice as my old place, but it was mine. I decorated it with my paintings and got a new cat from the animal shelter. I named him Picasso because he had different colored patches like an abstract painting. Maya and Carlos helped me move and brought pizza to celebrate my independence. It felt amazing to have my own space again, where nobody could make me feel unwelcome or call me names. I was finally home. For months later, Mom called and asked if we could have lunch. Her voice was different, less desperate and more respectful. "I understand if you're not ready," she said. "But I miss you, and I want to show you how much we've all changed." I agreed to meet her at a small cafe downtown. When I saw her, she looked older and more tired, but also stronger somehow. She had gotten a job and was paying her own bills for the first time in years. She seemed proud of herself, which made me happy. Mom apologized again, but this time it was deeper and more real. She said she was ashamed of how she had let Lisa treat me. She admitted that they had all taken advantage of my kindness and never appreciated how hard I worked for them. "We thought you would always be there no matter what," she said. "We forgot that you're a person with feelings, not just someone who pays bills." She told me about their new life in the apartment and how they were all learning to work together as a real team for the first time. "Lisa is different now," Mom said. "She realizes how much she hurt you and how wrong she was. She's working hard and saving money to pay you back for everything you gave up for us." I wasn't sure if I believed that Lisa had really changed, but I could see that Mom had. She paid for her lunch with her own money and didn't ask me for anything. She just wanted to spend time with me and apologize properly. It was a small step, but it felt like progress. Maybe my family could learn to treat me with respect after all. 6 months after leaving, I agreed to have coffee with Lisa. She looked different, less focused on her appearance and more serious about life. She had been working full-time and taking night classes to become a medical assistant. "I'm sorry isn't enough," she said right away. "I was jealous of you and took it out on you in the worst way. You sacrificed everything for us, and I called you a burden. That was unforgivable." She had tears in her eyes, and for the first time in years, they seemed real. She wasn't just sorry because things got hard. She was sorry because she understood how much she had hurt me. Lisa told me she had been saving money to pay me back and had already saved $3,000. "I know it's not nearly enough," she said, "but I want to show you that I'm serious about making this right." She also said she had started therapy to understand why she had been so jealous and mean to me. "The therapist helped me see that I felt guilty about you supporting us, and I took that guilt out on you instead of dealing with it properly," she explained. It was the most mature conversation we had ever had. I didn't forgive Lisa right away. Trust takes time to rebuild when it's been broken so completely. But I could see that she was really trying to change and become a better person. She wasn't asking me to come back and fix their problems. She was just asking for a chance to earn my respect again over time. "I miss my sister," she said at the end of our coffee meeting. I miss the person who taught me everything and always had my back. I want to be the sister you deserve. It was a start. Over the next few months, I slowly started rebuilding relationships with my family. But this time, it was different. They respected my boundaries and didn't ask me for money. They invited me to dinner sometimes, but they understood when I said no. They were all working and supporting themselves like adults should. Dad seemed happier working full-time and contributing to his family instead of just watching TV. Mom was proud of her job and had made new friends at work. Lisa was focused on her career goals and treated me with kindness and respect. I never moved back home, and I never went back to paying their bills. That part of our relationship was over forever. Instead, we learned to be a family based on love and respect, not money and obligation. Sometimes Mom would cook dinner for everyone. Sometimes Lisa and I would go shopping together like we used to. Sometimes Dad would help me fix things in my apartment. But everything was given freely, not expected or demanded. We were learning to appreciate each other instead of taking each other for granted. My art started getting noticed online, and I was able to quit the art supply store to focus on painting full-time. Maya and Carlos celebrated every small success with me like it was their own victory. My family was proud of my art too and would share my paintings on social media. Lisa bought one of my paintings with her own money and hung it in her room. I want to remember how talented my sister is, she said. It felt good to be seen as a person with dreams and talents, not just as someone who solved problems. 1 year after that terrible dinner, Mom invited me to her birthday celebration again. This time, it was at their small apartment instead of the big house. There were fewer people, but the atmosphere was warmer and more genuine. When Mom asked me to cut the cake, Lisa stood up and made a toast. To Sarah, she said, looking directly at me. The most generous and talented person I know. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it, and I'm grateful every day that you're my sister. Everyone clapped, and this time it felt real. Dad also apologized that night for staying silent when Lisa hurt me. I was a coward, he said. I should have protected you, and I'm sorry it took losing you for me to realize how important you are to this family. It meant a lot to hear him take responsibility for his actions too. The whole family had grown up during our time apart, and our relationships were stronger now because they were based on choice, not obligation. We chose to love and support each other, and that made all the difference. Looking back now, leaving that night was the best decision I ever made. It was scary and painful, but it taught all of us important lessons about respect, independence, and real love. I learned that I deserve to be treated well by the people I care about. My family learned that taking someone for granted is a good way to lose them forever. They also learned that they were stronger and more capable than they thought. They didn't need me to pay their bills. They needed me to be their daughter and sister, and that's a completely different thing. I still live in my own apartment with Picasso the cat. I still paint and sell my art online. I've even started teaching art classes to kids on weekends, which brings me a lot of joy. My family and I have dinner together about once a month, and we text each other funny memes and pictures throughout the week. Our relationship isn't perfect, but it's real and honest now. Nobody owes anybody anything except love and respect, and that makes every moment we spend together meaningful instead of obligated. If you're watching this and feeling invisible in your own family, I want you to know that you matter. Your feelings matter. Your dreams matter. You don't have to buy love or earn respect by giving up everything that makes you happy. Real family lifts you up and celebrates your success. They don't tear you down or take advantage of your kindness. Sometimes you have to walk away to teach people how valuable you are. It's scary, but sometimes it's the only way to save yourself and your relationships. Thank you for watching my story and for all the comments and messages you've sent. Knowing that my experience helped other people feel less alone means everything to me. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to Her Revenge and hit that notification bell. Share your own story in the comments below. How did you learn to stand up for yourself? What happened when you finally set boundaries with people who were taking advantage of you? Let's support each other and remember that we all deserve to be treated with love and respect. Remember, family should be your safe place, not your burden. Love should make you feel stronger, not weaker. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from people who don't see your worth. You are not responsible for fixing other people's problems, especially when they don't appreciate your help. You are responsible for your own happiness and well-being. Take care of yourself first, and the right people will stick around and support your journey. Everyone else will show their true colors, and that's information you need. To everyone who's still here at the end, thank you for your time and attention. Comments like yours keep me going and remind me why sharing these stories matters. You've made this journey feel less lonely and more meaningful. I hope my story helps you find the courage to stand up for yourself when you need to. Hit that subscribe button if you want to hear more stories about setting boundaries and finding your strength. Ring the bell so you don't miss any new videos. And remember, you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Until next time, stay strong and keep fighting for the life you deserve.